Imagine this. A group of space scavengers just trying to make a living in a world where Earth is dying and the rich live in luxury among the stars. One day, while collecting space junk, they stumble upon something unbelievable, a child. But this isn't just any child. She's got powers that could change everything. Powers that make her the most wanted person in the galaxy. Stay with me now. Welcome to Peak Plot Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain an action-packed, sci-fi, fantasy, and adventure film. Space Sweepers. Directed by Sung Hee-jo, set in the year 2092, it's a story about survival, redemption, and the fight for humanity's future. Think Guardians of the Galaxy meets Mad Max, but with a unique Korean twist. With a 6.5 out of 10 IMDb rating, this movie blends action, adventure, drama, fantasy, and sci-fi into one thrilling ride. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button. And now, spoilers ahead. The movie begins in the year 2092, and Earth is not looking great. The planet is a mess. The air is so polluted that breathing feels like a luxury. The soil is acidic, and most plants have disappeared. Forests are gone, deserts are spreading, and humanity is on the brink of extinction. But hope comes in from a mega company called the UTS Corporation, a powerful company that came to mankind's aid and builds a new fancy orbiting home for humanity. This massive space station mimics Earth's natural processes. It's a mass of land, a little too far away from Earth. But here's the thing, not everyone can make a home in there. The rich and powerful, who have enough money to pay for the UTS services, can ascend to the new orbiting home to become the UTS citizens. And the rest of humanity, they're stuck on a dying Earth, breathing toxic air and struggling to survive. And there's also a group of people called space sweepers who live in less developed colonies called orbits. These sweepers risk their lives collecting unwanted trash from space like abandoned satellites and old spaceships to sell for scraps. They sell such debris to the UTS warehouse. It's a dangerous job, but it's the only way to make a living in this harsh new world. The founder of the UTS Corporation, James Sullivan, tells a bunch of reporters about all his plans. He claims that he cares about the people on Earth, and he is working on creating a civilization on Mars, making it the new Earth by growing genetically modified plants, and says he'll be announcing the grand opening of a Mars colony soon. Our story begins with the crew of the Victory, a space sweeper ship led by Captain Jang, the leader of the crew and a former UTS genius who tried to assassinate the UTS CEO, James Sullivan. And the crew includes Tae-ho, a former soldier turned space sweeper. He's on a mission to find his adopted daughter, who was lost in a space accident. Tiger Park, a tough guy with a criminal past, a former drug dealer who's now the ship's mechanic, and Bubs, an android who dreams of getting a human-like body. Together, they operate the Victory, a powerful but debt-ridden spaceship. The crew is constantly struggling to make ends meet, thanks to Captain Jang's gambling habits and the high cost of maintaining their ship. One day, a huge piece of debris crashes with a satellite near the solar battery charging area. The Victory is late as they see other space sweepers already there and competing to get hold of the debris as their own. But the captain of the Victory ship, Jang, is not about to let that slide. Bubs the android stands on top of their ship and launches a harpoon with a rope that holds onto the piece of debris. Then Victory pulls it back, causing the other sweepers to chase after them. Tiger handles the Victory's engines and machinery, powering it up so the ship can go faster and smoothly. The other ships start to catch up to them and try to steal the loot. Then our ship's pilot, Tae-ho, makes a risky move and flies Victory around the dangerous solar panels, flying through tight spaces like cave divers to escape without a chance of being followed. And somehow they lost the other space sweepers and secured the bag. Afterward, the crew brings the ship to a waste management factory. Tae-ho trades all the materials they've gathered from the debris, but unfortunately, the pay is poor because the corresponding taxes and the damage they had caused while trying to capture the ship is more expensive than the actual ship itself. In the end, the team is left in debt, and while they are there, they see the news show a missing, wanting sign for an android girl called Dorothy, who was stolen from UTS 2 days ago by an extremist group known as Black Foxes. The girl looks innocent and all, but she's actually a weapon, so if civilians see her, they must call security immediately instead of going near her. However, Taeho doesn't pay much attention to the news and leaves. Later that evening, the crew gets into an argument inside the Victory ship while they are gambling because of their debt situation. They were trying to talk it out. It didn't last too long as they knocked themselves out in seconds. Bubs is the last one standing, and she puts away her money in a safe box, revealing that she's the only one who has been keeping proper savings among them. Bubs has a dream of getting a better human-like body. Later that day, the crew plans to work on the debris they picked up earlier to get the money, but while they are at it, they discover something strange. They open up the ship's cargo box filled with a bunch of airbags that float out. And hidden among them, the crew is shocked to see a living little girl in a spacesuit. They get her out and bring her with them to their ship. They discovers the little girl's name is Dorothy, and they plan to get an award from the girl's parents for bringing her back. But Taeho can't help thinking about his own daughter when he looks at Dorothy. As they discuss about the plan, the news shows the missing of the girl ad again. According to the news, the girl is an android who has a weapon of mass destruction inside her created by a terrorist group called the Black Foxes. The crew gets scared when they hear that she's dangerous. They quickly braced for cover when she opened her mouth to blast them out. Wait, never mind, she's just sneezing. After that, the crew quickly runs to hide in their rooms and decide how to proceed. The crew sends Taeho out again to try to tie her up, but Bro gets scared as soon as she moves, and he grabs some metal to hide behind. Taeho notices she has a backpack, so he quickly grabs it and runs with it to his room so he can investigate its contents. He discovers a phone with a bunch of missed calls from someone named Hyanu Kong and some documents from UTS that have the same name as the person in the missed calls log on Dorothy's phone. The team decides to head the Victory ship toward one of the residential districts for non-citizens of the UTS. They run out of the ship, leaving Dorothy inside. And while she's alone on the ship, she reveals an ability that causes a dead plant to blossom a leaf. Meanwhile, the crew goes inside a bar and talks about what should they do. Tiger tries to call the police but is left on waiting, and Taeho sees this as an opportunity to make some serious cash by selling Dorothy back to her creators, the Black Foxes, hoping to score a big payday. They all start to argue and they reach to an agreement. Taeho uses a communicator that makes his voice untraceable. He calls Hyanu Kong and shares with him camera footage of Dorothy, demanding $2 million in exchange for the little girl. Kong immediately accepts the deal, which makes the group jump in happiness. And they decide to meet in the 32 commercial district. But both parties are unaware that someone, or the CEO of UTS, Sullivan James, is secretly listening to their conversation from afar. Meanwhile, the crew disguises and prepares to meet Kong inside the Victory. Suddenly, an alert goes off in their computer, revealing the police are on their way to the ship. The crew started to panic and immediately took off their disguises and hid the girl to start acting like normal space sweepers just before an officer showed up. The officer saw a strange plant growing on their ship because to them it's like a drop of water in the desert. He tells the crew that their station got a call from this Victory ship, and the cop notices Tiger pulling up random gestures at the door. The cop pulls a taser, and he goes inside the room to investigate for anything suspicious, but Dorothy tries to stay hidden. Taeho quickly runs to take some of Bub's savings and give them to the cop, but he pushes him away. But the cash is still in his hands, so Jang arrives and tells Bubs to record everything. Then Jang threatens to snitch him until he gets out of their ship. After the cop left, Taeho and Tiger dressed up again and go to a club in the commercial district for the exchange. They both pull up to the club while Jang and Bubs watch everything inside their ship. Tiger keeps Dorothy safe in a bag, and Taeho goes to meet with Kong, who flanks him from behind and searches for any weapons before exchanging the girl. He takes Kong to meet with Tiger, and Kong hands him a suitcase. Taeho and Tiger scan it and confirms that there is $2 million in cash inside. But when Kong opens the bag, they find out that Dorothy is missing. The little girl is wandering around the club, and the dancing crowd froze when they saw a little girl among them. Suddenly, everyone's devices start spamming Dorothy's missing ad, and the crowd slowly backs off in fear. The guards in the club, who are also after the little robot, start to open fire, but Taeho manages to drag her out just in time. A chaotic shootout ensues as everyone runs away in panic. Kong tries to reach Dorothy, but the panicking crowd drags him away along with them. Tae-ho and Tiger unite and start looking for Kong, but a guard notices them and starts shooting right at them. But Dorothy's supernatural powers creates a shield that somehow dissolves all the bullets. The guard stopped, thinking they'd killed their objective. The crew somehow managed to sneak away with Dorothy to their ship, leaving that place. Now, everyone is at a loss, and they wonders what they should do with the girl. Since their ship is damaged, they must stay in the factory. Jang scolds the two for failing, and then she destroys Dorothy's phone thinking that the guards used it to track them. Meanwhile, James is discussing with his scientist team about the nanobots on Mars that are trying to build plants and even an ocean. He's pissed and says that they must find evidence that there's no hope for Earth. His veins gain a dark color for some reason as he wiggles in pain. Inside the Victory, Dorothy requests scissors from Tae-ho. Turns out, the plant she healed earlier with her powers has grown fresh resources, and she uses the scissors to cut off the tomatoes from it. Tae-ho, surprised and impressed, takes Dorothy with him and sells the fresh tomatoes to other space sweepers inside the factory. Bubs chooses to watch over Dorothy next, doing makeups. The girl asks about Tae-ho, and Bubs explains his lore to her. Tae-ho was a commander of the Space Guards. He closely worked with James back then. On a mission, his team killed a mother and he found a baby in the arms of her dead body. He was supposed to send back to the Earth, but instead, he adopted her as his daughter. But the explosion from the mission left her deaf and he blamed himself for it. So from then on he wasn't capable of hurting anyone anymore. Because of this, UTS fired him and they ended up in a slum orbit colony. One day while Tae-ho was distracted, his daughter wandered away. Suddenly some space debris crashed in the neighborhood, killing thousands of people. During the chaos, Tae-ho couldn't find his daughter anywhere near him and watched in horror how a part of the town separated away into space. Since then, he has been trying to hire a search party to recover her before the debris flies too far away. And to this day, Tae-ho is still looking for her. That's why he joined a sweeper crew. Bub's story is interrupted as they get a call, and Tae-ho rushes to answer it, and they agrees to arrange a new meetup with Kong. In private, Tiger says he is worried about what the people may do to the girl, but Tae-ho reminds him he needs money to find his daughter, and the crew needs to get the ship back. When Dorothy goes to the bathroom, a man in a mask kidnaps her. The crew hears her scream, and they realize she's been kidnapped. They immediately start looking for her, and Tiger jumps into the tunnels, and there, he sees a man taking Dorothy away. Tiger chases him, but loses sight of them, and Tae-ho arrives just in time to retrieve Dorothy from the kidnapper by surprise. Tae-ho quickly whoops his with his soldier training, but the man isn't alone and more masked people appear around him. Tiger returns and beats them all up in a matter of minutes. Jang also comes and unmasks their leader, discovering it's Karen, the manager of the garbage disposal facility where they sell the space debris to. The crew interrogates the kidnappers while Dorothy rushes to the bathroom. Jang points out that robots don't use bathrooms and concludes Dorothy is human, which Bubs confirms. Then they discover the kidnappers are black foxes. The group explains they aren't terrorists. They're an environmentalist group. Dorothy was born with a congenital disease and couldn't move, so her father, Kong, injected nanobots into her body. These saved her life, but also gave her unique abilities to communicate with other nanobots and heal and protect things. This means that she could heal Earth and James' Mars project wouldn't be needed. And now, James wants to kill her. He created a hydrogen bomb that can be found inside the factory's anti-gravity system, so the soldiers want to put her there and blow it up. Then the factory would crash onto Earth and kill all humans, making Mars the only reliable option for everyone. As they talk, they hear some gunshots and discover the soldiers have arrived at the factory and are looking for them by hitting any person they see in the way. The foxes escape through the back door. The crew manage to escape the orbit in their ship, but there are missiles following them and one explodes too close to the ship, sending it flying to the debris field. The ship starts to fail and the crew can't keep up with all the repairs. This allows a nanobot invasion to get onto the ship. Dorothy uses her power to communicate with the nanobots and sends them all away in seconds, fainting her in the process. The crew immediately starts CPR, but Dorothy wakes up as if nothing happened. Everyone in the crew sighs in relief and laughs with her. Victory leaves the debris field and gets the news, which announces that all the crew members are now wanted criminals. But the Victory crew receives a message from the Black Foxes again, and they meet inside an old colony. They come aboard and Dorothy rushes to reunite with her father, Kong. Jang notices something strange. The place is surrounded by EMP explosives. Suddenly, they activates and shuts down all the systems in the ship and Bubs the robot. The UTS soldiers barge into Victory and start shooting down the Foxes before kidnapping Dorothy. They knock down Jang's crew and arrest them, but all the Foxes are killed, including Kong. James arrives at the scene, but he doesn't kill anyone because of their shared history. Instead, he starts yapping about his plan. Then he hands over a bunch of money as payment for keeping Dorothy and leaves with her. Afterward, he appears as a hologram for all the UTS citizens and announces that Mars is ready to be lived in. Back in Victory, Tae-ho is collecting his part of the money, but the others are not happy about it, considering it dirty and don't want it. What they want is to save Dorothy. While Dorothy is tied to Deadly the hydrogen bomb, Tae-ho returns to the search company and pays them to find his daughter. But finally, Tae-ho decided to join them and rescue Dorothy. The crew make their positions in the Victory ship, prepared for the mission with all their skills. They manage to take down most of the soldiers who chased them. The Victory goes fast and reaches the factory just in time, where Dorothy is located. The crew rushes inside the gravity chamber and rescues Dorothy, where the hydrogen bomb is set to explode. But they soon realize they can't defuse the bomb. The only way to save Earth is to fly the bomb far away and let it explode in deep space. It's a suicide mission, but the crew is willing to sacrifice themselves to save humanity. Jang checks on the bomb's programming and figures out that the bomb can destroy everything within the 5,000-kilometer radius. They need to take the bomb away as fast as they can. The crew prepares to leave only to hear there are attack drones coming. Jang opens communications with the other sweepers and explains James' plan and asks for their help to escape. They make it outside, and they see all the other sweepers are waiting in their ships. With their help, the space sweepers start taking down the soldiers with impressive aim, allowing Jang's crew to safely fly away to save Dorothy. At the same time, the recording of James yapping, captured by Victory ship, is broadcasted by the news, and now all of humanity knows the truth. James leaves with his own ship and finds Victory, opening fire to stop them. Jang fires back as Tae-ho flies as fast as possible. Next, James managed to climb on top of Victory, breaking it open with the mechanical arms. The Victory finally reaches 5,000 kilometers away from the Earth. James expects to see Dorothy inside, but to his shock, he finds the hydrogen bomb itself inside. Turns out, the crew detached the hydrogen bomb and took it with them when they left the factory and sent Dorothy off with the other space sweepers before they flew away. They acted as bait for James and saved everyone at the same time, sacrificing their lives. The other space sweepers watch as the bomb lights up the sky, killing James and destroying the whole ship. But Dorothy's eyes started glowing, activating her powers, and she controls some nanobots, which safely brought a big piece of victory with the crew still safe and alive inside. Sometime later, we see the sweepers are paid well for their actions, and their debt is gone. Bubs finally has the human-like appearance she wanted. Dorothy also connects to the nanobots and helps Tae-ho meet her daughter to say goodbye. Dorothy is officially adopted by the crew. Together, they continue their work as space sweepers as Earth becomes green again. This story is a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope and courage can light the way. How a group of unlikely heroes changed the fate of humanity. So, what do you think about this movie? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe for us to make more peak recaps for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.